Hi there, I'm Phil Arco. I'm the head of the National Link Coalition. We're the National Resource Center on the link between animal abuse and other family violence, particularly domestic violence, child abuse, and elder abuse. And we're here today at the Safelight shelter in Hendersonville, North Carolina, talking to Lauren Wilkie, the executive director, about the 3-year program that they undertook to become pet friendly. And they're now one of almost 300 domestic violence shelters across the country that accept pets in order to keep all the family members together and to enhance everybody's healing. Let's go inside and talk to Lauren and find out a little bit more about how they did it, what was involved, the challenges they ran into, and how successful the program has been.
Well, thanks for being here, Lauren. And
Glad to be here, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Pleasure talking to you. Tell me a little bit about what prompted Safelight to, take this major step and begin to accept pets.
So our clients' needs, having through our hotline and through our data analysis of what our clients were asking for as they were fleeing violence and abuse, there was a recognition that we had people who were deciding not to come because they didn't want to have their animals boarded. So we were constantly looking at how to remove barriers. How could we then create a space here that their pets could come with them, and what would that look like?
Excellent. And how many people would you estimate, were in this kind of a situation?
Well, we estimated based on our calls and based on numbers of pets we did board, because we had a partnership with our local Blue Ridge Humane Society, and we had about 2 to 3 a month that were calling our hotline and needing boarding services. So we estimated, well, once you offer it, more will come. We thought maybe 5 to 6 a month would be our average need. And so going off of that and seeing how we could meet this need. So being open from December to now July, so a little over 6 months, we have served 24 pets, dogs and cats to date, and we've turned away probably another 8 because we didn't have enough space. So what's interesting on that is there's a couple of things to explain what happened. We doubled our kennel space from our original plans. We thought 2 dog kennels, we created 3 just to have a backup. We thought 2 cat kennels, we created 4 to have some overflow and extra. But what we didn't anticipate was the fact that since we are one of a few in Western North Carolina and really in the Carolinas that offer this space, is how many survivors from other counties would be coming to seek us as a service and covering the need that their counties aren't providing. And that's an estimated number we did not anticipate.
Interesting. How long did this process take from when you started thinking about it to when you broke ground to when you opened it up?
Years. A good rule of thumb is any project that's well planned and executed 2 to 3 years. And that's about what this one took. We first started talking about it with our clients, with our staff, with our partners. Then we pulled in Blue Ridge Humane Society and we looked at 3 different spaces over the span of a little over a year that we were considering putting this project. And then once we found the right space, we started executing the plans and the budget planning and figuring out what it would take to build it.
And what did it wind up costing approximately?
Oh, well, it's funny to think back on it. When I first brought this to the board of directors, I told them I was going to write a $60,000 grant for this build. And I remember 2 of my board members laughing and thinking, oh, that's ridiculous that a kennel space would cost this much to build, and la-di-la-di-la-di. It actually ended up, the startup year of the project for the retrofit, the build, the equipment, hit more, and the partnership, which we put in as a small grant, about $150,000. And that has no staffing costing for Safelight staff attached to it. It was all the retrofit, the equipment, and our partnership for making sure we had access to food, vaccines, animal support. The reason it was more than anticipated is many things. Mainly we wanted to do it really well and build it knowing that this is going to be what we use for decades. We're going to build, they're not kennels, they are more like luxury mini apartments for pets, as you've seen.
Of course, yes.
Our little pup spaces are bigger than Manhattan apartments, is my joke. They're about a 10 by 12 size. It's not meant to be something you're in for an hour or two. It's meant to be your living quarters that you go into when you're not playing with the family or being walked outside with your family. So we want it to be very spacious and very comfortable. And it includes 2 pet dens, one for dogs, one for cats, for the family to have as their play area. And it includes, as we go along, enough support for 3 years with our partnership to pay out equipment, vaccine, food needs as we go along. So every pet that comes in gets to have and take with them certain toys and their own bedding, because we can't reuse it for the best hygiene. They get to take that and have it, and we get a fresh one for every pet. So it was just the space we chose that would be the best for this happened to work out because we were able to get some funding to move our shelter dining and kitchen space. And once that was moved, I was looking at this space as this was happening. I said, oh, this is the kennel space. Like I didn't even see it until it was an option. And so once it opened up to be available space, we were able to add a few walls, add a few doors, and retrofit the space, and then add the equipment, which, you know, just the kennel door equipment for the 3 dogs was $10,000. Just the kennel cat equipment for 4 was about $8,500 just for that piece. But it also included building a trench into the dog room in the concrete, and then covering that up with the right water and drainage that would be needed for cleaning the space, and the right RFP on the walls, and all the things that go around with that. So the equipment, while I just named just $20,000 on some doors and of course toys and different things like that, the equipment side is not nearly what it took for the retrofit of the space to be functional.
And you got a grant to cover the whole
I
thing?
got 2 grants to cover the entire 150 project.
Okay.
So we got a federal grant that's still open and happening now. I know they just closed for this cycle. And that OVC grant, Office of Victims of Crime, and I took a minute because we also write a lot of OVW grants,
Right.
Office of Violence Against Women. But that grant was $100,000 over 3 years. So it included the entire first year retrofit and build, and then 3 years built in for Blue Ridge Humane Society to be our partner and get paid quarterly to help ensure vaccines and the right equipment, the right food, and that we're using for our pets. Some training for our staff, helping make sure our paperwork as we go along meets the requirements that we all want as this partnership. And then the other grant we got, which was through Red Rover's
The Purple Leash
a
Project?
Purple Leash Project, and it has another name as well, and it's gonna come to me. I can't get it out, but it's under the Red Rover Purple Leash Project, and it has another like 4-word name.
Don't forget the pets?
Don't forget the pets is
Right.
what it is. That grant was $60,000, which helped cover the difference in the retrofit that we were gonna need. And all this included, we had a couple of things that were done pro bono. So our 2 architects that we worked with did the work pro bono for us to plan. So that could have been another $10,000, easy, maybe more, depending on what you're doing for your architect planning. But we were able to do that at no cost. We were able to use a lot of the space we had with some existing walls at no cost. So it could have, if we had to build it separate, it would have been a lot more than a 150 3-year project. Also already having the staff and being able to add this as part of our repertoire and not having the staff it takes as part of this, that would be a whole lot more to have covered 24/7 staffing for the project. So we're able to piece it in with what we had. So we really did a 3-year project for adding pets pretty cheaply, in my opinion, at $150,000.
You don't need staff because the families are here in the shelter. So I take it it's their responsibility to care for the animals?
It is, but it takes a lot of our staff to make sure that happens. So do not think you can't do this without staff, and the right staff, and our training with Blue Ridge Humane Society being part of that. There's a lot of paperwork involved. There's a lot of education involved with the families as we've gone along. We've had some hiccups with families who don't properly care for their pets. We've not had my fear coming into it was, oh, what if people leave their pets behind? Absolutely not been the case for anybody I've talked with who's done this type of work. In fact, there's been one family, 2 actually, that we didn't think they were caring for their pet enough. And we wanted them to give us full access for their pet and let them be boarded rather than, and then work on themselves before adding the pet back in. But they were not having that. So I would say there's a huge connection and love for the pet. We just want to make sure that pet's well cared for. And that's been not necessarily having the same level of care, and we've had to do a lot of education.
Did you run into any unforeseen obstacles or benefits that came out that you hadn't planned on?
It took way longer than anticipated to find, price, and evaluate insurance companies. I will say in the end we had a golden star with the one that we were already using, and I will not name this insurance company, but just say we're grateful for them because they were able to add what we needed very fairly, and it was a big concern of how it would work out.
But there was some additional insurance cost.
There actually wasn't on our end. They ended up letting us add it and not charging us more, which is why I will not name them because I know they don't want to be named, but it was a great benefit to us. I will just say they are among the list of providers that is on the list for Red River. Okay. And that's all, but I won't name them by request, okay, not to be named. Other things, well, I told you a little bit about the water trench. Well, I didn't anticipate how much knowledge I would have to have for city county water regulations, and so having the partnership with Blue Ridge Health and how you clean your kennels and what has to be done as part of the process was really helpful, because you are not allowed to wash down drains feces. And so learning the rules and making sure we were in compliance for the water rules was really, unexpected and a great learning curve. Paperwork. So working with a partner who's so great with animals and us being very knowledgeable and working well with people, we didn't think about together the fact that we're both taking on some of our first types of clients. So we took pets for the first time and they took people for the first time. Guess which is harder? So working with Blue Ridge to know how to work with people, and coming up with us together, what is okay and not okay and appropriate for the owners to be present for, and what makes it better or worse. And so we trial and errored a few things and figured out what worked best for us and the pets. And so that was some fun learning curves. We didn't anticipate some of our owners being away for so long to give proper pet care. So for instance, and this is a normal life too, but if you work such long shifts, not having the ability or access to walk your pet for a 10 to 12 hour work shift is not okay, and how we could come up with a policy internally to support and help that with staff.
So staff would fill in.
And the owners giving permission and the right forms for that, so we could support that they could still have a 12-hour work day, but to be here and to have the right animal care, what does that look like and how can we be a part? Which will be tricky when they don't have us as part of that routine, right? So like anybody who has a long work schedule, making those kind of decisions. We've learned a lot about animal control in our community and our counties, and how they are short-staffed and able to respond. We had one that we wanted to report some animal abuse for, and our person for our county, which is one person, was on vacation. So how do we do that, and how do we go about making that happen, and what were the go-arounds? Were really tricky to navigate. So it's been a couple of hiccups, sure.
But nothing that you couldn't overcome.
We just got to learn.
Right.
And being willing to learn as we go.
What advice would you give to another shelter that's been thinking about doing this or has been afraid of doing this?
Yeah, like anything new, research. We went and toured a couple of agencies that had them already and asked some of our fears and questions. No two shelters will look the same because you got to work with what you have. We retrofitted a space that we had, and we're willing to just kind of be flexible around it. Absolutely, if you have a good relationship with your local humane society or another pet partner, I highly recommend it. I mean, you don't not have to become the expert on pets. Let the experts teach you, and that for us has made this doable.
If any other shelters are interested in this, you feel comfortable with them calling in, asking for advice?
Absolutely. Call, ask for advice. We read and looked at so many policies. Some became our starting guides of what we created, and then we tweaked for what worked for us. So no matter the guy that you start with, you will tweak it to become yours. And everybody was willing to share with us, and we'll share with anybody.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
We're going to stick with just dogs and cats for now, but it doesn't mean that down the road we wouldn't expand. I'm really weary of snakes. I've been asked that. I'm like, I don't know, but we're just going to stick with the dogs and cats for now. And
Has anybody come in saying, I have a horse? Or
So no, and that can be a thing, and we would not be able to accommodate that here. You would have to board your horse with the right facility. You have to have outdoor space, and we don't have that.
Right.
But it would be interesting because you can have an emotional support animal be about anything, but shelters do not have to house emotional support animals. But we will always help someone find the right spot to make it happen. I mean, I know a lot of our staff who grew up with a lot of horses, and there are a lot of equine therapy places we partner with in the area, and we could figure it out. But the horse would not be here with you,
right?
Because we don't have the right accommodation. It wouldn't be safe for the horse.
Yeah, and when we see the rooms, you'll see that it's a little too small for a horse, right?
And absolutely, I have folks who are scared of dogs. Even the ones who are like, oh, this isn't a scary one, that's not a pit bull, or the ones that get labeled. But we have clients who are severely afraid of dogs. So having our kennel space be separate from it's within our shelter, but separate from our people floor, if you will, has been really beneficial to us because we have people who are afraid of dogs, which is a lot of times coincides with abuse and violence. So us recognizing that and being able to accommodate a space separate was really great for the people we serve. But it doesn't mean in your language you're not educating those who are coming in. We serve pets here and letting them know how close a proximity, just so you have people who are aware of what they may encounter in your space.
Yeah, this has been an issue in other shelters, either staff or residents who are fearful or allergic.
Yes.
But given the dynamics of this location where it's separated, I imagine that hasn't been an issue.
It has not. I will say you can get to our space by hitting the wrong button on an elevator, and I had that experience taking some stuff up in a client on the elevator with me having a huge panic freak out as she was hitting the button faster than I thought she was going to break it. But it's also okay. It was her error in hitting the wrong floor and being on the animal floor and didn't mean to. But I mean, I'm allergic and I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lauren, thank you ever so much.
Yeah.
Alrighty, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's go on inside and see what the kennels look like.
This is our pet den adjoining the dog kennel space, and in here the families can watch TV, hang out just like a regular den, and play with their pets and throw balls and have toys and take them outside for walks. But this is their den to hang out with their pets. Is that your favorite food? Where is it? This one's in charge.
Tell me about the kennels, Lauren.
Oh my gosh, so our kennels opened December of 2023, and we've been open and operating a little over 6 months. We've had over 20 cats and dogs so far, and we have 2 precious pups with us today and 3 cats with us today. So in our kennel space, we can house up to 3 dogs at a time, and they have each, as you can see, internally a very large space, and as they move in, anything they would want. We've got toys, beds, comforting pillows, all kind of stuff for the pets to have. Petted and mowed. So this is our cat den. The families can come in here with their kitties and watch TV and hang out, and read books, and play with the family with their pets.
And nice soft music playing in the background.
This is Pet Medics.
And of course something for them to look at.
Yes.
All right.
We've got TV we can put on for them.
And another quilt.
Another quilt with
Right.
fishies.
Okay.
Dana.
Tell me how this letter made your day.
So not only did a client take the time to mail this to us and ensure her sweet lady doggy pup's paw print was on here, but she mailed this to us in such a creative story from her dog's perspective.
Let me read this here. It says, Why are dogs good dancers? Because they have 2 left feet. I think my mom's jokes are funny. She tells me it's only because I'm H. Ha ha. I love seeing my mom smile again. Thanks to every one of you. Thank you all for everything, for our safety, shelter, and even food. It was all absolutely bon appetit. We will be forever grateful for your positively amazing kindness and supported. You are all so awesome. Thank you very much, always. And there's the dog's paw print
Yeah, and we
signature
took her
there.
name out just for privacy, but I will tell you it was a female dog. And she was a cutie.